Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Libra for July 2015. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, or click on the link below this video to see more about my personal live coaching sessions. Also to see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is available on a sliding scale and is intended to help you bring your shine into the world. And while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community. So what's going on in this July? We have a roller coaster ride. I have named this theme of this month Gwazi. If you have ever been to Busch Gardens in Tampa, Florida, you may remember there was an old roller coaster, a wooden one, a rickety one, that was very bumpy and very uncomfortable, and then had little moments of whee! Bumpy, 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 whee! That's the theme of this month. So we'll talk about all of the sweet spots, and we'll talk about the challenging spots in general and specifically for Libra placements. So we start out the month with a full moon, the first of two full moons. So this month is rare in the way that we have two full moons this month. So we know that drama and shaking off of emotional energy happens at full moons. Sometimes something comes to fruition without there being drama. It's just a positive, something exciting or wonderful comes to fruition. The odds that this full moon, the first one, July 1st, will be a very auspicious one are increased because we have multiple transits that are occurring at or near the same time that are flavoring this. The full moon that we had at the beginning of June had some Neptune aspects to it, so it brought some confusion. Or there were negative Neptune aspects. So this month we have positive Neptune aspects, and as I always talk about, we see the worst side of a planetary potential when something is in a challenging angle. When something is in a favorable angle, then we see the sweet sides or the softer sides of the planetary expressions. Every sign, every planet, every placement has a range, a spectrum of potential manifestations from lowest to highest. So traits that we associate with certain signs or characteristics of certain planets, those are only a small piece of the potential, very much like humans. We all have this range of potential within us. So these planetary aspects activate in the form of the manifestation that is related to the mathematical aspect of the planetary connection. So at this full moon, it's a full moon in Capricorn. You early degree Libra placements, and some of you middle degree placements will experience this, will have this new moon, this full moon welling up, completion, fruition energy in the fourth house. So something coming to completeness, coming to a head, coming to fruition involving home or family or something with real estate, or something also involving father or work, because this is Capricorn and those are the things it rules. When we're looking at the expression of the planetary transit, we look at the house it's manifesting in, and that's one level of expression, and we look at the sign that it's in. So the house is Cancer, and that's the home and family and real estate matters, and the sign is Capricorn, and that is authority figures and work things. They're actually opposites, Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer is like home and family and your inner world, and Capricorn is your place out in the world. So those two areas are being aspected very strongly this beginning of July. Now, so Neptune is making a favorable angle to both the sun and the moon at that time, and Neptune's brighter side is that it's highly creative, highly inspirational. So I'm also calling as a sub-theme for this month, be in your studio as the theme this month. Whatever your studio is, your office, your place that you create from, because you're going to have so many inspiring, artistic, creative, gentle aspects involving Neptune and some other placements as well, that it just lends itself to sweetness and poetry and flowery, sweet, romantic things. And so you want to be having your mediums out, blow the dust off of your paints or whatever things that you might want to create with, and have them out and ready, both for the beautiful times and the more challenging times that are kind of clustered more towards the middle of the month, so that you have an outlet to deal with the challenging energies. Also happening right at the beginning of the month is Venus is making a conjunction with Jupiter. This is very, very exciting. This is like the expansion of love and beauty and money. It's awesome. Jupiter expands and brings opportunities. Venus rules love, beauty, money, harmony. So when these two get together, it just explodes with opportunities involving growth with love, beauty, and money. And this specifically, the arena this is getting played out in for Libra placements is the 11th house, which is the house of friendships, of networking, of internet, social media, or social scenes, or anything that you work in a group or on a team, or humanitarian efforts. This is one of the most extraordinary networking opportunities of the year for you, for Libras specifically, because this is in your 11th house. Now, some of you later degree Libra placements, you might experience this in your 10th house, but that's your house of career, work, and life purpose. So if you're trying to network for the benefit of your work, it's still going to be wonderful involving this 11th house. So they're still related regardless of whatever placement your Libra is in. So be out, be seen, be connected. If someone invites you someplace, go. Especially around this time at the beginning of the month. It's just so stellar. You might make the contact of a lifetime here. And so this aspect of Venus being with Jupiter is a little bit more short term than some other aspect that's flavoring this. This is like a symphony. There's you start hearing one instrument and it sounds beautiful. Then we bring in another instrument and it meshes and it sounds beautiful and it's doing something different, but it's accentuating the first instrument. And that's what's happening here at the beginning of the month. So Uranus and Jupiter were in a beautiful aspect. They've been in this loose aspect since last summer, getting tighter and looser in this beautiful trine. And at the end of June, we had this beautiful 120-degree angle bringing inspiration and surprises in a wonderful way. Well, that aspect, because it involved two outer planets, didn't just go away after that day passed. It's still very present. The Jupiter and Uranus are still in a very close connection here. So really that was what started it. Well, what really started out was that Jupiter started expanding your house of connections and teamwork and all of these things that are 11th house. The story really started for some of you last summer, and depending on your degree of Libra, it would have been staggered into the fall or into the winter or into the spring of this year. You know, the later degree placement you have, the longer this would have been staggered as far as starting up. But whenever it started for you, and for you late degree Libras, it still is going to get there. But Jupiter started expanding this place. And by the way, the 11th house is also the house of your big dreams, not the dreams you have at night, but the ones that are just a dream of a lifetime, like the things that you always would want to do. Like if someone says, okay, what is your biggest goal? Or if you know, even if it seems totally outrageous, that house, the 11th house, is the house of those outrageously huge dreams. So this whole lineup has the potential to fuel those big, huge dreams. And the story started when Jupiter got there. Then when Uranus came and started flavoring it, it gave energy to it. Now Venus is there, adding money, love, beauty, aesthetics, harmony to the whole scene. And then between the 2nd and the 5th of July, we have Mercury coming and making this favorable angle both to Uranus and to this Jupiter-Venus conjunction. So that's bringing in either for early to middle degree placements, the element of the 9th house, which is teaching, learning, international affairs, things involving religion. A contact in your church or a contact at your school could come in and add to the scene here. For the rest of you middle degree Libra placements and you later degree placements, this is coming in from your 8th house. So this is someone bringing resources, someone funding something, someone, you know, a piece of like support that comes with resources. So usually that winds up being money, but sometimes resources are something other than money, but this is the house of other people's money. So sweepstakes, winnings, inheritances, lawsuits, the court deciding in your favor and money coming in, things like that. So energy like that can come in and fuel this big dream. So Uranus, for most of you, is in the 7th house of relationships. So again, this this other piece here is something having to do with your one-on-one relationships. And this can be your romantic relationship, this can be business relationships, this can be client relationships, or any other relationships. So this is the whole story here of it's not really the whole story. We can never really talk about the whole story, but these are the players that are coming together at the beginning of the month. Now, as of July 6th, as we're fresh off of all of this sweetness that extended from the second half of June into July, we start up with these challenging, awkward aspects. July 6th, we have the Sun and Pluto making an opposition. And an opposition is a challenging angle. And this is a prelude to these other challenging aspects that are coming right behind it, including other aspects in opposition to Pluto. So later on in the month, around the 18th, we have Mercury and Mars joining the energy of opposing Pluto. By then the Sun will have passed from there, but it's like this story of this rebirth, transformation, birth, death. Pluto is acting very much like Saturn for a while, because Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, which Saturn rules. So some of the taglines that we would associate with Saturn, when we're seeing aspects with Pluto involved in them, it's very strongly Saturnian. So Saturnian energy is like that authority figure that can be disapproving, that can be withholding emotionally, that can be, difficult or combative or antagonistic, or be in a position of authority and not budging. Pluto is acting very much that way. So things that you're trying to do, many of you Libra placements will be experiencing this in your house of work. And the rest of you will be experiencing this in your house of the bigger picture, the religion, the studies, the publishing things, teaching, learning, international business things. And if your work is in any of those fields, then it's affecting your work as well, even if it's in the 9th house. So things are opposing what you're trying to do with your bigger picture or your work. Then on July 12th, we have a square of the Sun to Uranus. And it's just really hard because Uranus, we've talked about Uranus at length in the last previous months, because we had an eclipse that had Uranus in a really obnoxious angle, and we're still kind of feeling the after effects of that. And then we've had Uranus in these beautiful aspects, and Uranus brings things out of the blue. It's like a lightning strike. So it's like a shock that's not positive when it's in not a good angle, which is a square here. So the Sun, something affecting your vitality, something affecting you trying to shine with your work, with what you do, being recognized. And Uranus is coming in and again, acting like a counterforce. And it could be in the form of a disapproving person, annoying person, a naysayer. So then on July 13th, we have this square with Venus and Saturn. And Saturn, for pretty much all of you, you still have this in the 2nd house. So even though Saturn popped into Sagittarius, it's now back in Scorpio, and it's still flavoring this energy of the 2nd house, which is your finances and material possessions and your financial security and your income streams. So you've got Saturn making this opposition to Venus, which rules money, and it could put a little pressure on your finances at this time. So if you have some money coming in with the sweet aspects, try to not spend it all, because as something challenging here with money may come up, you may wish you had put some money aside. And also Venus is going to go retrograde later this month and be retrograde for a while into September. So the chance for things involving money to slow down are increased. So you want to put money aside. And this might be your first hint of it. That's part of why I like to get these out to you early, so that you can listen to them early and you can prepare yourself. It makes me think of, you know, if you're going to have company and there's rabble-rousing kids or animal dogs. And so it's like you can either stress the whole time and then be annoyed and not look forward to that visit of that family, or you can just put your breakable things up, put mats down over the carpet, you know, and have a good time. And that's what these hard transits are like. If you can prepare the space beforehand, then you can have a much easier time. If you know there's going to be stress, you have your outlet ready. You know, you have your punching bag is another thing I'm suggesting this month, because some of the aspects we're about to get into here be really volatile. And if you have anger or difficult feelings coming up within you, it's better to get it out at the gym or with the punching bag or running than it is to be walking around like a loose cannon, driving, operating heavy machinery, communicating with people where you could say something that you later regret. So that's why we're preparing the space. And the space in this period of time is just going to be awkward and challenging. So we do have some sweet aspects right here in the middle of these challenges. July 8th and July 13th, we have Mars and then Mercury are going to come and make this trine to Neptune. And some of you have Neptune in your 6th house, which is your house of everyday work, your work house, your diet, your house of pets, animals. Some of you will have this in your 5th house, which is your house of children and romance, hobbies, fun, creativity. So either placement or both for some of you is going to have this really positive string of aspects with Mars, which rules how you use your energy, and Mercury, which rules your communication, which can be very inspiring and artistically productive. Neptune also rules water, so this can mean anything associated with water or being by the water is being particularly inspiring at this time. So then we have the big dog of the month, which is this new moon in Cancer with baggage. The new moon in Cancer is bringing in this, for many of you, this new work opportunity, career, work, life purpose, something with authority figures, something with your energy with father. Some of you will have mother there, but new opportunities, and since Cancer rules mother, very well could be mother. So parents, something new involving home and family or work can open up here with this new moon. We usually only get one new moon a month in a house, and that's your time of the year where this open window in that sector of life is just flung open. Some of you will experience this new moon in the 9th house, but it's going to be close enough to the 10th house that still this work sector could be highlighted. So if that were just it, we'd say, yay, new moon in Cancer, all this new stuff. But it has so much baggage. It has the things we've just talked about that are close enough to affect it. Then we have Mercury and Mars conjunct opposing Pluto. This is what we talked about earlier. So many of you are going to be experiencing this in, again, the 4th and 10th house, the same place where you experienced the Sun versus Pluto. Some of you are going to experience this in the 3rd house. And some of you middle degree placements are going to experience this right on the line of your midheaven and your 4th house cusp. Whenever something happens on the angles of a chart, they're more critical. And so middle degree Libras have been having, especially if your birthday's like October 5th through like the 15th or so, you've been or maybe even the 16th, you've been having Uranus sitting on your 7th house cusp. And when it's on the 7th house cusp, it kicks a 180-degree angle to your 1st house cusp and kicks 90-degree angles up to your 10th and 4th house cusps. And these 4 houses are what I call the big 4. Their identity, self, their relationship, me, we, their home and family and upbringing and ancestry, and that's the 4th house. And the 10th house is career, work, and life purpose. So these big 4 that are just at the core of our lives have been dramatically affected by Uranus's placement on that 7th house cusp. And like we talked about, Uranus is like a bull in a china shop. It just comes and just tears things up. And they seem to come out of the blue, and they have this electric quality, and they're just surprises. And it just can throw your whole life into upheaval. So many Libras you've had your life in just this crazy upheaval. And now with, and Pluto is sitting close to the 4th house cusp with this additional energy of upheaval. So when these planets come and oppose it, it's just kind of pouring salt in the wounds. But as I always say, these aspects are not something to be feared. They're something to be prepared for, and they're something to be used to make your life better. When you have something, a long-standing problem, sometimes when a sweet aspect comes, it can alleviate the problem. But if you really want to uproot the problem, you need to have an aspect like a square or a series of squares and oppositions that just get down and dirty to unhinge the whole problem. But sometimes when you're unhinging a problem, it's not pretty and stuff just flies everywhere. It's like when you're cleaning out things and you take everything out of the cabinets and everything gets way more messy than when you started. When you get everything back in, you feel so happy because everything is all nice and clean. It's like that, except you're in the part where it's not nice and clean. Now, you earlier degree placements, you might have gone through this already and maybe things are sorting themselves out. It's complicated to try to tell the timing of this because you might have more than just your sun or rising sign in Libra. So you might have been experiencing this from Uranus hitting on another Libra placement you have earlier, or that could be upcoming. So without knowing your chart, you don't really know how this is happening. But we can say in the general way that these middle birthdays or middle degree placements, like, 14-ish degrees to 22 degrees, Uranus has been tearing things up for sure, if you have any Libra placements there. So just look for the lessons, do the inner work. I'm always talking about doing inner work, and use this as fuel to activate your best experience. Then we have Mercury will come and square Uranus. So that is another line of energy after the sun has already done this earlier in the month, where it's just kind of things that are surprises that aren't as happy. Earlier in the month, we have Uranus involved in happy surprises. But this time it's just kind of shock waves. Your nervous system might need more support this time, especially if you're one of those middle degree placements we were talking about. So then we have a little sweet spot. This is one of those wee spots that I talked about with the rickety roller coaster. It's like rickety, bumpy, bone crunching, and then it's like wee. So this is another wee spot, which is the Sun and Mercury conjunct, making a nice aspect to Saturn. And Saturn is in your house of finances, your house of income streams. So you might get a little financial boost. You might get some good news about something involving your money. Then we have Venus going retrograde, and this is a really big deal. This happens once every 18 months. It's going to be from July 25th through September 8th officially, but the retrograde shadow period started June 22nd and it ends at the end of September. So from the end of June through the end of September is covered with Venus retrograde. It is the time for people to go back over things in love and money and beauty. Not the best time to get cosmetic surgery. Not the best time to buy expensive luxury items unless you're getting a smoking hot deal on them. That is one of the exceptions. You can get awesome bargains during the time that Venus is in retrograde. But because of that, you don't want to be a person selling your expensive stuff during Venus retrograde, because you're probably not going to get as much money for them and you may regret having sold them. But if you're a person that looks for bargains and buys antiques or buys expensive items at a discount, the chance of you finding those things at this time is great. It's not the best time to redecorate your house because you're not, or any other design projects, because you're not seeing aesthetics, love, beauty, money clearly. When we're in retrograde, we're not really seeing clearly. We're seeing things in the shadows of the past and everything is murky. So while you're going to reconsider things involving love, relationships, that always comes up big time, and money, it's not the best time to act on those decisions because you really don't have the full picture. So at the end of the month, July 31st, we have the second full moon in Aquarius. Some of you are going to experience that in the house of children and creativity, romance. True love, it's also called. Some of you will experience that full moon in the fourth house. So if you didn't experience the full moon at the beginning of the month in the fourth house, you're now experiencing it in the fourth house. So that wholeness, something coming to fruition involving home, if it's not happening at the beginning of the month, it could be happening at the end of the month. And because Venus will be in Leo at that point, there could be a little extra drama there. So just prepare yourself for that. So I can't see what's going on in your personal chart. I'd like very much to. If you want some help navigating these aspects and help safeguarding your energy field from unnecessary drama, then check out my website, aspiritualspark.com. and see about my personal live coaching. Also, you can see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program, which I highly recommend. It's available on a sliding scale, so it's accessible to everyone. And this helps you to take the challenges and turn them into gold. It's like alchemy. It's converting lead to gold. I've gotten to see so many charts over the years that I've been doing astrology, people from all over the world, and although we have different stories around our problems, what humans want and the problems they have and the questions they have are very much the same. And that's why I put this program together, so that the things that I hear people commonly having trouble with are addressed in the program, and they can help you. The program can help you to move through your challenges and move into your highest expression. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. I send out monthly written reports of the upcoming transits for your reference. And I hope you have a wonderful month. I'll see you next month. Bye.